Hey guys, it's your girl Rocky. I know it's been a minute, and I feel like I say that every time, but that's okay. That's okay. Thank y'all for tuning in. Today, I want to give y'all some book recs, okay? I know people are always discussing or asking, should I say, what books would you always recommend? And I have a lot of them. I have a lot. But because I'm someone that may or may not have a hard time making decisions for certain things, I didn't want to choose from every single book I've read everywhere. I read books from my own shelf. I read books on Kindle Unlimited. I read books from the library. I listen to audiobooks from the library. I'm reading books from everywhere. So to choose from just such a broad option terrifies me a little bit. So what I'm going to recommend to you is what books from my shelves that I have read in a couple of different genres that I feel like even if it's not your main genre, I think you would still enjoy. So for literary fiction, my rec is going to be Kin by Tayari Jones. This was so beautifully done. It's about two girls from Louisiana who are both born without mothers. They go down two totally different paths in life, and we get to see both of their journeys. It's beautiful, but it's also tragic, and it's filled with a lot of emotion. It's written so amazing that even if literary fiction is not your jam, I still think you would enjoy this, because I'm not a big literary fiction girly, but I've been getting more into them, and this did it for me. Now for a fantasy, a mythology one specifically, it's gonna be Ayana Gray's I, Medusa. This for me was just so different. Now I do have to be honest and say I've never read another Medusa book before, but I've heard of the story of Medusa. I'm familiar with most of Medusa. I've never heard of Medusa as a young girl, and this is from the point of view of Medusa as a young girl. It also includes other Olympians in this story. I really love this, and my favorite about this is that she starts off with locks, and those locks end up turning into the snakes. Just, yeah. Now, if you like a cozy fantasy, maybe a fantasy with some magical realism, it's not full on fantasy, it's not full on magic, or it's not full on witches and things like that. The Lost Bookshop by Evie Woods, super cute. It follows three different strangers who are basically now main characters after being a side character for so long. Again, super cute. Just the vibes are there. We love it. We love a book for the vibes. Now, if you want a classic, it's got to go to my girl, Octavia Butler, with Kindred. This was insane to me. This was such a different concept. What do you mean she keeps disappearing into the past? But the past that she disappears to is on a plantation with a slave family, and she's a black woman. That's terrifying. This really could be a thriller if you think about it. Because what the fuck? This is a scary ass book. But Octavia just did such a good job for me, specifically how Dana was struggling with certain things when she would go to the past, even though she knows she don't belong there. She was still terrified and just insane. And then how do you explain that to people? But then when she come back to the present, she was only gone for like a couple seconds, a couple minutes. It's really cool. It's definitely a classic, and it's a classic that you need to read. Maybe you have on your shelf. For thrillers, it's gonna be my guy, Charlie Donlea, the girl who was taken. Now, I will always recommend this to someone. This isn't my favorite Charlie Donlea book, even though I do love this book. But my favorite Charlie Donlea book is gonna be Don't Believe It, only for the simple fact that that was, when I first started getting into reading, that was the book that got me back into reading. That was the book that got me to realize, like, oh my goodness, I really love this. I need to be back here. This is amazing. And for that reason alone, that's going to be my favorite book. But of the ones I have, this one I'm always going to recommend. It's a page turner. It's twisty. Charlie never lets you know what the hell is going on. You never know what's going on. Every time I read one of his books, I always guess the killer. But that's just because I've guessed literally everybody. I'd love to see all of his books on the big screen because he really just does an amazing job. Now we're on to our romance section, and there's going to be a couple of different categories. Now for a romance, got to go to my girl, Kennedy Ryan with Real. This is a little thick, but it's amazing. Kennedy Ryan knows how to write a woman that's a little bit older. It's more than just a romance story. We're getting real life issues. We're getting a dreamy man, of course, and we're just getting the love story of a lifetime. I can't get enough of Kennedy Ryan. She's gonna make me laugh because the banter is hilarious. I'm gonna be kicking my feet because it's so damn cute, and I'm gonna cry every single time because I feel it right here every time. So yeah, need that. For a Why Choose Romance, Just Right by Shon. Very cutesy cover. Not so much a cutesy book, but a fun book. A great book. A retelling, actually. Goldilocks and the Three Little Bears. So basically, she break into this house because she had been out all day and she's hungry and she got to charge her phone. So she just wanted to charge her phone, and then she saw some food and she ate the food. And then after she ate the food and being lost all day, she was tired, so she fell asleep. And then when she wake up, is a gun in her face and 3 men. Then we see the story unfold. That's just a little something in case you like a Why Choose. And my last rec is going to be a dark romance, Still Beating by Jennifer Hartmann. This was the first book that made me literally sob, like boohoo, crying so hard that you look in the mirror and you're like, girl, you look a mess. That kind of crying. It was insane. But then it just also is so beautiful. This is about Cora and Dean. They at Cora's sister's party. They having a good old time. And then some man abducts them. Cora and Dean. They don't really mess with each other like that. They don't like each other, but they both locked up in this crazy man's basement. And the ride that this book takes you on, amazing. Again, I have a ton of other books that I'd love to recommend. Whenever someone does ask for a recommendation, I always ask, are we looking for a specific genre? Because there's just so many that we can choose from. And I want to recommend something to you that I think you would like. You know what I mean? If you're someone that doesn't like romance at all, I'm not going to recommend a romance. Unless you say, hey, I want to get into that. What would you start with? You know what I mean? If you're specifically looking like what thriller is fast paced and really, I want to give you that. I've read other books in these genres that I love. So they probably would have made the list. But just off of this category, this is my list. Now that's a stack, honey. If you've read any of these, I'd love to know. What do you think? Also, what books on your shelves would you recommend all the time to everybody? Let your girl know. And I'll be back soon.